What's going on, guys? PlotArmorCards in the house, and today I'm here with a brand new archetype called Mr Roon. Now, just a quick disclaimer, I was actually recording this a little bit earlier, but my mic was off and I didn't realize it, so everything I was saying, all my commentary wasn't getting picked up. So I'm gonna have to re-record, and so I've seen most of the cards already. Just so you know. See how much I love you guys. I'm going through all of this again, so please like, comment, and subscribe, and let's go ahead and get started. So just a quick note, it's saying for sanity's sake we'd use Rune, but Angel Statue, as Rune and Rune Ice Pendulum Dragon exist, so we need to compromise with a name since the theme is, don't know how to read Japanese, it cannot be the word Rune. It can't just be the word Rune. For reasons of accessibility and searching and ease of understanding, Ruon, the Middle English version, and Run, I guess that's how you say that, were rejected, so Mysterune, since the kanji involved would normally sound like mystery. Okay. So that's just an explanation of why they named it what they did. So let's take a look at these cards. So the first card is called Spring of Mr Roon. It is a field spell card, meaning you can search this card with Terraforming. You can search this card with Metaverse. It's a field spell card, like mentioned before. You can activate Mr Roon quick play spell cards from your hand during your opponent's turn. Now this is really, really big for this archetype because most of this archetype is quick play spell cards. And the fact that you can play them from your hand, they essentially turn into hand traps. So definitely recommend running 3 of these if you were running this deck. Secondly, once per turn, if you activate a Mysterune quick play spell card, you can target up to 3 Mysterune quick play spells in your graveyard, place them on the bottom of your deck in any order, then draw that many cards. Now this is also really, really dope because this deck is based on quick play spell cards. So you're going to be playing quick play spell, quick play spell, quick play spell, and then you play your 4th quick play spell, you can put them back in your deck, and then you can draw 3 more. You can just keep playing them. Most of these cards you can only use once per turn though, but it at least sets up your next turn, and it stops you from decking out. And it's very, very hard to deck out if you have this card. So let's look at the next card. So this is a continuous spell. This card is called Deceit of the Mr Roon. You can only control 1 Deceit of the Mysterune. Still, I would recommend 3 of these because its effect is each time a quick play spell is activated, banish the top card of your opponent's deck. Now that's really good, as you'll see going on with the rest of the archetype, because the whole thing of this is just you want to mill out your opponent's entire deck. And let's see. So next we have the first quick play spell card shown to us. It's called Point of the Mysterune. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. Activate 1 of these effects, skip your next battle phase after this card resolves. So as you'll see going forward with all these cards, they all have this effect or similar effect where you just skip your next battle phase, and you can only use 1 of the effects. So its first effect is you can add 1 Mysterune card from your deck to your hand except the Point of Mysterune, then banish the top card of your opponent's deck. Now this is also 3 of because you can literally search any card that has the word Mr Roon in it. Any card at all. It's just a general searcher, and so it's dope. Special summon 1 Mysterunes monster from your extra deck to the extra monster zone. So that's the second effect, and there are a couple extra deck monsters as we'll see going forward. So it's pretty good. Next, we have another quick play spell card. It's called Mysterune of the Brilliant Flame. It's a quick play spell. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. 1, activate 1 of these effects, skip your next battle phase after the card resolves. So you can either target 1 opponent's special summon monster, destroy it, then banish 2 cards, the top 2 cards of their deck. Or secondly, you can special summon a Mysterune monster from your extra deck to the extra monster zone. So not bad. So this archetype doesn't have any monsters. So if you want to summon extra deck monsters, you're going to have to use the spell and trap effects that are, sorry, not even trap, just the spell effects, because all of them allow you to special summon a Mysterune monster. Next we have Rune of Destruction, another quick play spell. You can activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. After activating 1 of these effects, skip your next battle phase after this card resolves. Okay, so target 1 spell or trap your opponent controls, destroy it, then banish 4 cards off the top of their deck. That's crazy, 4 cards. This is also, I would recommend running 3 of these, just because the Mysterune archetype has enough support to get by. Some of the archetypes that I think it would do good against, maybe it could be good with Strikers, maybe Trick Stars. But I would definitely recommend, if you want to play this alone, even if you want to play this archetype, run 3 of these, because your opponent will always have some sort of spell or trap on the field, maybe even a field spell. You know, you could destroy it, and then you get to banish 4 off the top of their deck, so that's really good. Special summon 1 Mysterune monster from your extra deck to the extra monster zone. That effect is going to be very common throughout these cards. So we have another quick play spell card. It's called Rune of Dispel. I'm assuming that's Dispel, or is it Dispel? I don't know. So this effect is the same. So if your opponent adds a card or cards from the deck to their hand, except during the draw phase, discard one random card from their hand, then banish 2 cards off the top of their deck. So as we know in Modern Yu-Gi-Oh, most of the time your opponent is going to be adding cards from their deck to the hand, unless they're playing something like incredibly slow, or they're setting or summoning directly from their deck, I think that's a lot more rare. So, and secondly, you can special summon one Mysterune monster from your extra deck to the extra monster zone. Next card is called Mysterunes of the Freezing Curse. This effect is going to be the same. Skip your next battle phase. You can target one effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of the turn, and then banish the top 3 cards of their deck. Now, this card is amazing. This card is amazing. You don't need a Mysterune deck to use this card. I can definitely see a lot of people using this. A lot of people using this card just for the negate. So hopefully this is cheap compared to other cards. But if you can't buy Infinite Impermanence, I could see this being a substitute if it gets cheap enough. But I think this is definitely usable. So secondly, special summon one Mysterune monster from your extra deck to the extra monster zone. What do we got next? Mr Roon of Slumber. It's a quick play spell card. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn, and then this effect is the same. Target 1 face-up monster on the field, apply this effect to it, then banish top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. Once applied this turn, the opponent's monster cannot attack. Also, the next time it would be destroyed, but battle card effect is not destroyed. So you can do it to either your monster, or you could do it to your opponent's monster. Given the extra deck support for this entire deck, I would definitely recommend that you put it on your opponent's monster just so they can't attack, and then you can, mill the top 3 cards of their deck. So not bad at all. And then secondly, you can special summon a Mysterune monster from your extra deck. So that's good as well. What do we got next? Mysterune of the Golden Droplets. It's a quick play spell. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. Activate one of these effects, skip your next battle phase after the card resolves. Your opponent draws 1 card, then you banish the top 4 cards of their deck. Okay, so if you're comfortable letting them draw, I think this is pretty dope, that you can just banish the top 4 cards in their deck. Special summon one Mysterunes monster from your extra deck. That's the same. Lastly, for the quick play spells, we got Mysterune of the Raging Storm. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. And then this part is always going to be the same throughout. Banish cards from your opponent's deck equal to the number of cards they control. So I've had opponents where they just all they're gonna do is they're gonna fill their board. So you have 5 monsters, the extra monster zones, and then you have the spell and trap zones. I've had battles and duels against people where all of that is full. So this is very useful. Running 3 of these, I could see being very, very useful. One thing I'd like to see, I don't know if those 2 decks have the best synergy together, but maybe a Mysterune burn deck. Maybe that could be interesting. Let's see what we got next. So, Moonin Wings of the Mysterune. It's a level 3 Light Fairy fusion effect monster with 0 attack and 2000 defense. So, materials take 2 Mysterune monsters, but there are no Mysterune monsters, so it would be useless to put a poly in here or try to get a fusion out, because you're going to be summoning using all of these quick play spell cards. So, if this card is special summoned from the extra deck, you can discard 1 card and add 1 Mysterune continuous spell from your deck to your hand. So, the ability to search this, let me see. So you have to discard 1 card, which normally is a minus, but this thing, the field spell makes it so you can just shuffle it back anyway, right? So it's not too bad. And then secondly, this is dope. I really like this card because every time you use a quick play spell card, you banish another card from your opponent's deck. So the ability to search this is very, very good to me. We were on the second effect, right? Yeah. When your opponent activates a card effect that targets Mysterune card or cards and or set cards you control, quick effect, you can banish this card, negate the activation. If you do, destroy that card. Okay, that's not bad at all. Once per turn during each end phase, gain 1,000 life points. Okay, that's not bad. I just don't know how long this card will be lasting on the field. So if you summon it and then you end, you're going to gain 1,000 life points right off the bat. But then your opponent probably will destroy it in some way, shape, or form, right? So I don't see you gaining more than 1,000 life points with this card. Unless there's some way like you use Swords Revealing Light, or you use like Threatening Roar or Waboku, which I would probably use Waboku or Threatening Roar in this deck just to make sure they can't attack, right? So you'd be gaining 1,000 life points again and again. So I could see that. Next, we got Jerry, Fangs and the Mysterunes. It's a level 4 Dark Beast fusion effect monster. I don't know why this thing just looks like a Shadow monster to me. Maybe it's because it's purple. But it takes 2 Mysterune monsters. So yeah, good luck with that. But if this card is special summoned from the extra deck, you can target one non-quick play Mysterune spell in your graveyard. You can add it to your hand. So non-quick play Mysterune spell in your graveyard, you can add it to your hand. So you can recycle the field spell and you can recycle the continuous spell. Both of those cards can be recycled, added to your hand, and then immediately played again. So I like that. I like that very much. Cannot be destroyed by card effects. I like that it has a little bit of protection, but it's so weak that it could just destroy it by battle anyway, right? 1,000 defense isn't too much. So that brings us to the third effect. When this card is destroyed by battle, you can target one card on the field, destroy it. Not bad. I think that if my opponent is destroying by battle, they can't destroy by card effect, so they're going to either have to banish it or they're going to have to destroy by battle. The destroying one card on the field is like a negative setback, but isn't too much of a negative setback. Like if I was fighting this deck, I wouldn't be scared, you know? Unless I was using like one card on the field and it's some sort of like one-trick pony deck where I just need the one card on the field and that's what I need to win, you know? So, and then lastly, we have a Book of Eclipse reprint. So I'm assuming they want us to use it with this deck. That's what they're planning. Book of Eclipse, I think, is still pretty cheap because I have a bunch of different copies of this card. Book of Eclipse is a dope, a quick play spell. You could probably get away with doing a lot of damage with this deck with this card, because you're not trying to even inflict damage to your opponent with this, right? All you're trying to do is just deck them out. So the negative repercussions of Book of Eclipse don't necessarily apply in this deck. Plus, it's quick play, so it does help. So in order to make this deck like very, very good, I think you'd have to put in a bunch of other quick play spells, as many as possible, right? But I'd also recommend maybe trying out Wabaku or Threatening Roar. That might slow the deck down a little bit, honestly, in terms of milling, but you might need that just to stop your opponent from attacking, stopping from destroying your monsters and whatnot. I think this could work really well with Sky Strikers and Trick Stars. That would have to, obviously, we'd have to see when they come out, right? And people will try it out. I would like to see it used somehow with a burn deck, but I don't know how good that would be. But the card I like the most in this deck, let me see if I can find it. The one, you guys know which one I'm talking about, right? The one that negates. I'm not going to go through and try to find it. That would take too much time, even though I'm doing it right now. Let me see. Target one effect monster your opponent controls and negate its effects until the end of the turn, then banish the top 3 cards of the deck. I really like this effect. Even if first of all, I do want to try the Archetype. If it's cheap enough, I'm going to pick it all up. I'm going to try it, maybe come out with a deck build for this. But this card in specific, you can pretty much use it for any Archetype. This is pretty dope. So for this Archetype, the rating right now, probably 7 or 8 out of 10, because I like this Archetype. I think the field spell is very good. I think the continuous spell is really good. I think they have really good recycling power. I think they have decent draw power. And I think it could just be sped up a little bit. If you can find out a way to speed this up just a little bit, this could be pretty good. Obviously, the biggest thing you have to worry about is if your opponent has monsters that can like negate spell effects and whatnot. But I'm sure there's ways to play around that. So this was PlotArmorCards, guys. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. And oh my goodness, look at the time.
It's time to do